Hello, we are live on the YouTube, but this is a podcast. I have Ant and Rob with me today. Rob is my co host, and Ant is my special guest tonight. So I'm just unmuting their mics so you can hear them. Let's say hi, fellas.
Hi, fellas.
Hi, fellas. I was just getting rid of that echo, don't worry.
So tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about suicide. Also stuff that comes along with suicide, obviously depression and anxiety and stuff like that. Just to let you all know, we are not therapists. We are not doctors. We are nothing. We are not here to help you. We are here to talk about things.
Yourself.
Yeah, by us talking and chatting rubbish, hopefully the idea is to help you help yourself. So we are helping, but not in a therapy kind of way.
It's not in a professional manner.
We're not held responsible for anything, any help
Very
that we
much
give
far
or
from
take away.
Just to let you know, this is unedited. We do swear, and there will be swearing. So, just be aware that there will be swearing. So, let's get cracking. So, first, we've got Rob Brandon.
Hello, people.
I don't know how to make big on the screen, so yeah, we got Rob Brandon. So, like I said before, Rob's my co-host. We co-host the first episode of Iconic, episode 1. This is Iconic, episode 2. And hopefully Rob can throw some of his ideas over today as well. Secondly, we got Ant. So Ant is a friend of mine. I've known for a long time now. We met through magnet fishing. We also have the same surname. Possibly related, don't have a clue. Somewhere down the bloodline we probably are.
Yeah. The family tree is very, very large on the Bradley family.
Very large. Isn't it?
Yeah,
so we have the same last name. So Anne actually runs a little bit of well, do you want to explain what it is that you do?
But it's like a bushcraft survival sort of. I'm there as a guide. It's a retreat. So I'm there sort of as a guide. A friend of mine said it's basically wasting people's time, but it's not. It's sort of that's for people that don't get it. The
so you run like a bushcrafts.
Yeah. Well, it's bushcraft,
like a bushcraft retreat. Yeah, so you can go meet up with you, go camping, get back to nature, that sort of stuff.
It's a silly thing is like we watch TV today. We know it's just TV with all the channels. There's nothing better than watching Stone Age TV. You know, there's nothing better than sitting there staring into a fire in the middle of nowhere, listening to the world around you. Foxes calling, birds roosting in trees, and to some people that's like, oh, it's boring. But you know, like I was just saying to Rob, just as we were speaking, just there's two ways. There's two things of mental health. There's one way of like coping, is like keeping your mind overactive, a bit like what you do, Brad. You know, you've always got to do something. There's always something next. You know, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 things you're working on at the same time. But then there's also putting yourself in a state of mind where you're unactive, your mind. You know, you've got nothing to do. Everyone knows where you am, or no one knows where you am, which is sometimes a good thing. No phone. You know, the only thing you can hear is the birds, the animals, the crackling of the fire. You know, a couple of friends around. You know, maybe if you drink or you don't drink, some people may have some sort of infliction or addiction. And cooking something on the fire.
Is that something that you do allow then if you got someone with you who has got an addiction, you don't sort of like, right, this is a clean area. You don't bring that with you,
Well,
sort of
no,
thing.
I don't like to put it clinical. See, it's like I've got a friend who's an alcoholic, and he's been clean for a while now. My argument is, you've been 2 years clean, you're not an alcoholic no more. Well, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I can't argue with that. But he lives above a pub. So, if it's there, it's there. It's down to you. If you're going to... Yeah. I mean...
It doesn't matter if it's drink or drugs, you know where to get your gear from, simple as.
That's right. I mean, if you're into narcotics, it's like you only need a tenner, phone box, you're mucked up. It's up to you as a person to not get that tenner, not go to that phone box. Now, that's up to that person individually. I won't stand there and say to someone, you got a load of alcoholics around your campfire. You got a load of people who are into narcotics around your campfire. But there's people out there smoking marijuana, there's people out there drinking. Simple fact is, you got to teach yourself mind control. You got to teach yourself some sort of... Because it's there, it doesn't mean you've got to have it. If it's in front of you, some people argue sometimes, don't smoke in front of me. I only give up last week. Good for you. I want a fag, I'll have a fag. It's up to you whether you can or cannot cope with it. If you can't cope with it,
isn't it?
Well, it's I mean, I've been trying to give up smoking for so long. It actually created a mental health. I started not doing this and not doing that, not going by people that are smoking, trying to do this. It became so much of a head game. And then all of a sudden, I thought one day, maybe I'm not ready to give up. Rather than putting yourself through a lot more torment, which brings on a lot more mental health.
Inevitably make you fail doing it and bring your mental health down. Well, because you're not in the right... You're not in that right frame to be able to sort of take that on. Giving up smoking, I think, has got to be probably the most... I've smoked since I was a kid, and I've never given up. Never given up.
Somebody said something funny to me the other day. Somebody had got into some sort of trouble, and we was having a bit of a laugh over a pint, in the pub. And they said, he says, I think he might go to prison. I says, well, blooming hell, poor bloke, like. And he says, I bet he won't be doing that again. He says, why? He says, well, they ain't allowed to smoke in prison anymore. And I thought to myself, I don't ever want to get in trouble and get sent to prison now, because if you can't smoke in there, well, just that thought of fright.
You can, but you're gonna pay for that backy and that backy gets in there in such a way that, it's probably gonna take a little bit.
I've been there myself with the old,
Watch the program. I was just going to say, Brad, there's just I think you shout out the people that are in the chat, and if anyone's got any things they would like to ask, bung it in there, and at some point we will grab it and put it up as a question for Ant or myself or Brad, and if we can answer it at all. So anyone in the chat, we have had something that Brad sent me that I did make sure I think it works. An icon and something that... Who made this for us, Brad?
Do you know what? I don't know. I'm really sorry. Who was it?
Didn't want to put you on the spot or anything, bro.
No, jeez, man, jeez. You see, the issue is obviously, I run my own businesses and stuff like that, so my phone is full of thousands of messages.
We just want to hear who made it for us, because we obviously appreciate it.
I'll give you an excuse. I don't know. I'll find it.
It was a lady. I'm sure it was a lady. And thank you. If she is here or watches this, thank you ever so much. It's brilliant. That's helped us out without having to sort of make that. Is there any way you can put us... Is there any way you can put us on the sideways view? On your bottom of your stream, can you put us on the... Yeah, there we go. I think I'd just prefer that, I think. I don't know.
That's about it. That's all I can do. If I put that
It just
picture
feels
in the
like-
background, it'll.
It feels like we're in the bogs all having a pee while we're talking.
It'll
So, you all right,
crack.
mate? Yeah, you all right? I look over at Brad and go, fucking hell, you're all right, aren't you, mate? Jesus.
I'm talking to that geezer there, and I'm talking to that geezer down there. Everything's the wrong way around.
If we were in the bog, I'm going to get a bit. I'm going to put me in it. It's going to get a bit wet. That's it.
What was it sent on? So, I can't remember. I really can't. Just to let you all know, on the podcast side of it, we are now on Spotify. This episode is actually filmed live, so if you hear us talking to people, that's what it is. People are commenting and we're talking. So today, let's get on to the subject of why we're all here, and that's suicide. And I can't find that message anyway. So it's suicide. Who wants to kick off with it? It's a hard subject to talk about, really, because in reality you're talking about
it's a bit touchy, innit, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it brings emotions. This whole thing with suicide for myself. Sorry, Brad. I got things pop in my head. I'll just say it. I think that's my ADHD.
That's fine. Yeah. Do it.
Which my kids diagnosed me with. If you know what I mean. If that's not going to depress you, eh? When your kids diagnose your mental health, and you're like, okay, cheers for that. Okay.
Well, my kids call me a nutter every day, so yeah.
I think that's what our job is as a dad, isn't it? All three of us will agree on that. We are the nutty ones. The mums are the sort of bit more authoritative, you know what I mean? Teach them the good things in life and that, and we're going to do the this is why men don't live as long.
This is why, listen, son, this is why women live longer than men.
It's something in us. We feel the need to do something that's like, that looks dangerous. I want to do it. I don't know what it is. It's especially
I'm all for it, and if I can put this in there straight away now, I think a lot of mental health stuff today is to do with the society we live in.
The way we
Pink and Fluffy and Snowflakey and Lefty and all this stuff, and so many young kids out there are growing up confused because of media pressures, you know, peer pressures from the friends at school who, you know, I mean, everyone for whatever they want to do, but, you know, if you're a kid and you join a group of friends, you know, you become your own little gang. If one of them starts wearing nail varnish and the other one doesn't, and then another one wears nail varnish, the one who isn't wearing the nail varnish gets picked on. Peer pressure, you know, sort of forcing, you know, each other. I mean, when I was a kid, you know, peer pressure was climbing to the top of a high tree and jumping into the bales of hay that we'd nicked off the farmer's field. And that was peer pressure. Go on, you chicken, you can. But now it's like, go on, you chicken, wear a dress, or go on, you chicken, take drugs, or it's different today than what it was when we were kids, you know.
That's it. I think nowadays it'd be like make a meme of so and so, send it around the school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So you know, it's just cyberbullying today. You know, when we were kids, we just met behind the bike sheds and had a good scrap, and the next day it was all best mates. You know, and someone else having a scrap. So. You know, today it just sort of drones on. It's all on the media, and then everyone else jumps on.
Well, it's not as much retribution for saying or having an attitude or having something. You know what I mean? You always had in the school that kid that you're like, there's something fucking proper wrong with him. He doesn't fire on all cylinders or something like that. Yeah. You know, nowadays they'll probably get a lot more help because they would probably have had some sort of issue. Which has slowed their mental growth down as such or anything like that, and people understand it more instead of just sort of, you know, back in our day it'd be, especially for bless them Blue Peter, when they brought out that wonderful character that was Joey,
Yeah.
Don't know if you remember his second. I see you remember his second name, but yeah, that sort of was a bit of a backfire on that sort of issue. But that's it. It's someone else's talk. I've lost my train of thought.
It is an awkward thing. It's what do you say? Say you don't upset someone, or someone who's more strongly opinionated than what you are, especially when it's something that's got a magnitude as such as like taking your life, or if someone has just taken a life. This time of the year as well. Apparently, looking at statistics, 120,000 people on the month leading up towards Christmas have already lost their lives through whatever, and these are numbers that you've only really got back in the big depression in America back in the 20s. 120,000 people a year. What's a mate?
Yeah, I think I think people look at. I don't know. I think with computer games today, yeah. Hear me out here. You play a computer game, you die, and then you respawn, don't you?
Yeah.
You watch the TV shows, they die, they respawn. I think people have got it into their heads that they can just start over again if they kill themselves. This is my opinion, and it's like, but what I try explaining is there is no reset. But it's so ingrained
there's no
into
rewind,
our culture.
there's no pause.
Yeah, it's so ingrained into our culture now with all these computer games and stuff like that you literally automatically, I don't know, when I was going through the phase, I kind of felt like I would respawn, like, oh yeah,
Right.
you know what I mean?
You
It's
hope
like,
there was-
I
there
can't
was
deal with this, and then
a better thing that you was gonna come into. It's got to be better than what the situation you was in at the time is going through your head, I suppose.
Well, I think there's two phases to that, or there's two separate entities to that. I mean, the first one is, I really have had enough. I've got to go. There's just so much in here. I just can't cope. I've just got to go. I need a rest. I need to stop it. And then to others, it's like, I'm having a crappy life. I need help. But I've asked. No one will help me. No one will take me seriously. So I'll go as far as attempting to commit suicide, and then people can look at me and think, oh, he really does need help. Funnily enough, it's usually those that are the cry for helps, the people who don't really mean to do it, the people who are just asking for help, and that's the only way they can find. It's a shame all round, anyone losing their life, but it's even more of a shame for those that do it because they're asking for help. To actually follow it through and do it.
I understand asking for help. I ask for help. But in my head, my mindset now is you do it yourself. Because in reality, who is going to help you? The best person to help you is you. You get what I mean?
Yeah, you're ultimately the person that is going to solve the issue.
Yeah.
Having help to do that, brilliant. I mean, I think, and that's
but
where
I think you need to make that first. You need to help yourself. You can't just. You can't.
And if helping yourself
do nothing,
is asking for help, breaking that barrier of like, I grew up in that generation of, if you cry, you're a pussy. You know what I mean? Even in a fight sort of thing, it's nothing worse when you're a kid having that uncontrollable.
Generation X is a lot different. I mean, Generation X was, come on, lad, take you to the pub, have a few pints, get you a good woman. Yeah, you'll be all right in the morning. See you at work at 7:30. Well, that's when I was a kid,
And I think, obviously generations now are growing up more different. It's more acceptable to be who you feel you are, with all the issues that can bring along. But yes, it's still confusing times, but I think it is better and more known about, and things like this come along and help. And I would have never talked about this a few years back. We done one. Do you remember the steak challenge, where you went out, cooked a steak in the woods, and talked about mental health? I mean, someone started that in America, and it come over here as well. And I got challenged to it, and I was like, yeah, this have been. It was the hardest video I've ever made. The amount of times I was just walking through the woods,
Yeah,
talking to camera,
it's
trying to
it's
sort
an
of
awful thing.
be real and talk. And it was the first time I'd ever actually talked real to no one else, but it was I knowing that I would be talking to other people. And yeah, that was really, really hard for me, because it broke so many stereotypes for me of like being able to talk about my true feelings at the time. um
Yeah,
and since then, yeah, I've been able to do that more. And I wish the people that I do know close to me that have sadly took their lives, in the last, sort of 4 or 5 years, especially, I wish they had, what I mean, got to that point. And it is, I mean, we haven't got into it too much yet, but the way that someone taking their life affects you when they haven't spoke about it, or haven't asked for haven't done the cry for help one, or even if they have, it still hasn't helped, and they've done the thing that they don't understand, is of how much they will be missed, and how much it affects everyone that ever knew them. It's
yes,
and who all of those people would have wanted to help, even your enemies, sort of thing.
yeah,
Um,
that's true. Yeah, there's there's another one is in psychotic. What was it? Um, it's I can't really think of the. If I put it into context like this, somebody one morning got up out of bed, calmly tied a rope, put it round his neck, tied it to the banister of his house. Well, the hook on the banister, and just sat down. Now, strange thing was, I mean, this person had just, how you just get up in the morning, you put your slippers on, you go and brush your teeth, you put the kettle on, you make a cup of tea. If someone else during the day asked you what you actually did that morning, follow on moment by moment, well, I don't know, I got up and made a cup of tea. Subconscious, psychotic subconscious. That person was actually me. I actually got up one morning. I was very aware of what I was doing, very aware, but I didn't want to do it, but I didn't stop myself doing it. It was just as easy as, it's just a routine. It's not
Would
something I
you
do all the
say?
time.
Would you say it felt more like an urge? Like I always I try
Yeah,
when I try and
that's
describe
yeah, it
something,
was an urge.
I say, it's not I wanted to kill myself. It was I had the urge to. It's like
Yeah,
you walk past a bridge. You don't walk over a bridge and go, like walk up to the bridge thinking I'm going to jump. Some might, but
the latest
majority,
person
I'd like to say
I've
don't.
heard that in another community on YouTube, the auditors, is this lad on there, big drinking problem, got problem with drugs or whatever, and he said, and a lot of people took it as a flippant one and ripped him for it, but he was walking along the road, and he see the bus coming up the road,
just
and
an
he was
urge
just
to
like,
jump in
I'm
front.
going to walk in front of that when that comes up. And like
Yeah,
literally sort of like stopped himself at that, but that was definitely an urge for him. And yeah, I think you're right on that.
I get that in the line of work that well, I do, as Brad knows, I do all sorts of work. Like I'm basically builder, labourer, that sort of thing. I quite often go up in cherry pickers, or I'm on high buildings of some sort, leaning over, and I have that. Sometimes I have that urge to just, sort of a vertigo kind of weird, kind of urge just to go, and I'm not sure where it comes from, right? But I'm not scared of heights in any way at all. But one thing I am scared of is actually like leaning forward and just falling. I do get that feeling that what if I just went forward and fell now?
Well, this is it. One of the people that I know who took their own life. It was a few years ago. Brad knows about this. There's a video.
Yeah, Tidy's already mentioned it.
Yeah, I did see
Yeah.
Tidy about it, and he climbed a tower, 30-meter sort of communications tower, and went off of there. Now I know about those communication towers, and I can get up about 6 feet, and my legs go wobbly and everything like that. And to what I mean, to think about him doing that, and and even just having the will to be able to go up that high and then do that, it's just it's like. Didn't you at any point, mate, think just you
that
think
was pre-planned, like weren't it? Well, if I'm sorry, I mean
no.
I don't know his what happened, like family background. I know there was a note left, and it is hard to talk about, but I think we should. But to me, that was pre-planned in my eyes.
The situation that he was in, the situation that he was in, I think in his own mind, he had literally gone, there's two things that can happen here. If I don't get this out of my life, then I'm taking my life. If I do get, then, which he didn't get, the one main thing in his life that was so important to him, he couldn't have. So he just, like you say, pre-planned, I think, in his mind, and he obviously made no one aware. He closed his channels down and things like that. It was all definitely pre-done. I mean, but it just it destroyed me. It destroyed a lot of us, sort of thing of having a close friend do that, and think why didn't you talk to us, mate? We're all like proper close buddies. And that does hurt. That does hurt a lot. And I don't think people realise how much that does hurt people around.
Yeah. I was
back, Brad, maybe.
Yeah. It was once explained to me, but a non-official person, I'm a doctor or something, but somebody said to me once, it's suicide is a sort of a primitive coping mechanism. It's
I think it is.
Yeah, it's like thinking about fighting. I've been involved in fighting, field human fights and organised fights and that for years. And before a fight, it's the most horriblest feeling in the world. But then when I'm actually there, either being hurt or hurting, and all that goes out of my mind. The fear of being hurt doesn't fear me no more. Sometimes even the pain. You get a really blunt trauma force punch to your face. It doesn't hurt until after the fight's finished. And they talk about bringing on. Some people have like superhuman abilities. Like a young lad in America, the car dropped on his dad, and he actually lifted the car.
Yeah.
A 14-year-old.
A lot of those women coming along, like literally, their kids trapped or whatever in cars, and pick and flip it up, and physically.
So it's all like some sort of coping mechanism. It's some sort of like you often see these. I mean, people seen these videos on the internet about the Taliban in Afghanistan and all this sort of thing, and how calmly some of these people are being led away to be executed, by the terrorists or etc. And they're just simply walking off and letting it happen. And I'm like, no way. I would not let that happen to me. I'd rather go down with the bullets rather than just go and stand on an embankment. And
it's some of the ones I watch a lot of the old war stuff and everything, and you just reminded me of a clip of the Jews literally running into a pit, which has got bodies in it already, running in there to get shot, and it's like how, like you say, in my mind, I'd be like, well, I'm going to take one with me, sort of thing,
Yeah. Well, how many of us really would just have that coping mechanism and just think, oh well, that's it. Like I might as well just stand here and let it happen. So how many of us, and how many, you know, does it take a special sort of person to actually fight back?
Oh, everyone's
Or
different,
is it,
aren't they?
you
I
know, or
think,
is it
yeah,
a special person who just lets them get on with it? You know, don't make
Can I
no
just,
fuss.
does your brain go into a certain shutdown when it knows there's no hope? If
That's
you've
a
got
coping
absolutely
mechanism.
no hope of
Yeah.
something,
How
then
much
your
is that?
brain.
How much has that coping mechanism got to do with like what we're talking about today? Is a coping mechanism as in I'm just gonna cut myself and bleed to death, or I'm just gonna take these medication and just take too much and slowly go, or you know, how much of that coping mechanism is in the subjects of what we're talking about now? Oh well, I've had enough. You know, I'll just sit here and do this.
So we've got to
How many
find
that-
people
people actually stand there and say,
tackle that.
right, I'm not gonna do it. I'm actually gonna fight. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, I
explained
think
to me it's a
me
form
and
of
Brad was
coping
talking about
mechanism,
like,
man.
you do have to fight. It's like literally, it was like when we was talking about PTSD. You have to tell PTSD to go fuck itself. You
Yeah.
literally, and I think you have to do that exactly the same with all these very strong mental feelings that we have. You got to be able to turn around and go, right, I know this is bringing me down. I'm feeling so, no, screw you. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go and have a walk down the road, just see what happens. But I just, that clear your head sort of thing. And this is what I think is great about your retreat. I know you're doing anything like bushcraft, a bit like metal detecting with mental health. It takes your mind out of its zone where you're getting shouted at by your demons or whatever, or having all these things.
My business partner suggested that we want to try and be like a sort of an ambulance service. You ring us and we're there. You know, there's a meeting place or a pickup. You ring up, we come and pick you up, or you come and meet us. We get to the campsite. We set the camps up, set the tents up. We get the food on the go. We get the fire going. You know, the encouragement of not talking about the blues and the grooms and the doom stuff, and and that works for me. I mean, I feel down. I'll grab my bag on my back. It's already set up. I walk to my campsite.
I think, like you said, having that fire, very primitive thing again, and that resets our brain because it's like a safety thing. If you're next to a fire, then in our primitive days, then we're probably not going to be worried about that bear or wolf coming up because we got a fire, we feel safe, we're warm, we got something to cook with or whatever. And anytime being able to get out and do that around a campfire, I think it definitely probably opens up a way of coping with your stresses. And that it's probably one point back in the day where you've dragged your woman in, you've got your club in your hand, you've been out there smacking dinos over the head all day long, keeping yourself safe, and then you've got your fire, and that's at one point you can right, I can relax now and sleep, and your brain probably helps a lot with your coping with the stresses of your day. So if it's in us in a DNA sort of way, then there must be ways they coped with it that we can use nowadays. Gotta be.
Yeah, but it's like we forgot a lot of this now because when I was at school, I'm not saying this should still be apt today. Things have changed quite a lot. When we were kids, there's sort of things.
Different things.
Naughty bugger syndrome was a smack around the head. Such things as like.
Do you hear beeping?
I did hear beeping. Somebody's smoke alarm going off.
I was going to say.
Is that your smoke alarm, Rob?
I'm literally going off like that, so I don't set the smoke alarm off. But yeah,
it's my washing machine. It's my washing machine.
That's it. Eco Wash 20.
Can I just interrupt you? SMP made a comment earlier about trying to take her life. 22 years ago, I almost succeeded in the attempt to end my life because I had too much emotional pain and no hope, or so I thought at the time. Now, the reason why I wanted to read that out loud is because that last bit, and that last bit was, so I thought at the time.
Yeah.
God, with that washing machine, shut up. So if you pick up on that, so I thought at the time. I mean,
very good point. Very, very good point.
Yeah.
Everything is only temporarily. So your life is temporary.
Yeah.
Pain is temporary. Everything is temporary. Love is temporary. So when you're going through that emotional pain that's wanting you to end your life, I know it's hard at the time. I've been there and done it. But you gotta discipline yourself into thinking this is gonna pass. It might not take. It won't pass in like 5 minutes.
You might not forget things, but pain and stuff, especially emotional pain. You broke up with someone, you love them, you don't know, your life is over. But time heals everything like that, and you look back on things like relationships and stuff like that, and it doesn't hurt as much. You don't forget things, and like losing someone,
memories are forever, isn't they? You know, so.
Yeah, they don't. It doesn't hurt as much, so you can cope with it better because you've coped with it. I think definitely.
It's not like you get over it. That's not true. You don't get over it. What you do is you learn to deal with it.
Yeah. You get used to it. It's like a lot of people who
it builds people's characters, and that it makes us what we are. Having to deal with it, it is part of being human.
Yeah, so back to that primitive thing. It's like, you know, the elders of the village or the wise men. You know, that's why they know what they know, because they've done it, they've experienced it, they've been there. You know, they've seen it. You know, they've wore the jumper or they've wore the t-shirt. You know, so. You know, that's what Brad was saying, just, you know, about it. It's one of those where I'm glad I didn't do that yesterday. Today, I'm really happy. Today, I've seen my kids. Today, something good's happened.
I picked up on something you said earlier, and I think we're very, very similar on that fact. I see your kid there, and you said you sort of flippantly said, well, not flippantly, that's the wrong word, but you casually said, all right, kid, that's the reason why I'm still here. And it was like, so very true, mate. I've got 2 kids, and I could never do that to them. You know, my parents are still about. I couldn't do it to them, my sister or whatever. I could, you know what I mean? However low I've had my life go down to because of issues of whatever, you know, reason, I still think, no, I'm going to take this pain because I don't want to pass that pain on to other people. It's like I'll just have to deal with it until I naturally launch my car into a fucking tree because I've just got a little bit too much boost. You know?
I think with me, I mean, my episode not long back, I've had other episodes. They've been like times gone by, and they've been cry for helps. You know, they've been like, you know, and I will say it's how I feel. It's what happened to me. It's how I feel about me. There was childish, silly games. There were childish, silly. I can't get my own way. I want someone to listen to me now. You know what I mean? Stamp my feet. Well, this one not long back. That was last year, and. It freaked me out, and it still freaked me out now because I knew I was doing it, but I just didn't stop myself. I didn't want to do it.
Right,
it's autopilot. It's the most strangest. It's like being in the Twilight Zone.
Like another you.
To the edge.
Yeah, well, when I rang my family to you know, and told them what had happened, my cousin is he's a proper hardy bloke. You know, I mean, he's like, you know. Oh, you're suicide, it's daft. You don't do that. You get yourself, you know, you'll be all right in the morning. He come through the door, and the panic on his face. He knew they hadn't done it, because I'd spoke to him and rang him to just come and help me. My mum was here, and, you know. And he run through the door, and he put his arms around me, and Inky, my cousin, like, for him to do that, like, he's a lovable bloke, but for him to actually grab me and squeeze me and give me a big bollocking. How can you be so stupid? Well, don't do that to us again. I looked at the fright in his face, and I had that sinking feeling in my stomach. I can't believe I've just done this. But then when I analysed it myself, it was like I didn't make myself do it. I didn't sit there thinking, oh well, notepad and pen. Oh well, I'll do this and I'll do that, and if I do this and do that, it won't hurt so much. Or the strangest thing is
trip.
Brad knows. I mean, I'm into bushcraft and knots and all this sort of stuff. And I know I'm off by heart. I tied a knot that we use dominantly for snaring rabbits, and when this knot becomes tight, it does not slip back the other way. It does not come undone. It does not.
Yeah.
Tried it. I had scratch marks on my face here. My tongue was blue and it wouldn't fit in my mouth no more. My eyes were bloodshot, and I don't know how I got that from around my neck. It's just I'm not into this. I mean, some people. I mean, I know Brad's open-minded with it, or I'm open-minded, but I don't believe in ghosts and spirits and all this sort of stuff. But the house that I live in now was my family home. I was born in this, not actually in the house, but I was born here in this house. This is where I grew up, in this house. And luckily for me, I ended up coming home to where I started my life. And if it wasn't for being here in this house, I am quite, I'm quite adamant in saying that I wouldn't be here now. My relationship ended with my son. You just saw Cody with his mum, which was twisted, very twisted, and
that can be the most sort of like, I think, apart from obviously losing a child or a pet or whatever, the split up and what we have to go through as the male side of it that people don't really see until you've actually been through it, whether it is, even if it's the most amicable split. I don't think people realise that how much it can affect us missing just doing that one, reading the bedtime story, not being able to do that every single night or something. How much little things can
not for a long time
destroy your head. But then it's the littlest things, just having your kid come up and just like, Dad's busy, so I'm gonna have a little pop at him. I love it.
It keeps me so occupied, and
too right.
And I've got my daughter as well, Lacey, and
my
partner
on the chat.
So I've got big reasons to stay here. Probably will in a bit.
Too right. I think that is, especially for us men, that is the one thing we do anything for our kids. So we've got to take pain for that and get through things, and we've got to push our way through it. And that's one way of helping yourself, having a proper reason to never leave.
Well, one of my reasons is if anything was to happen to me, because of the animosity between my ex and my family, if anything was to happen to me, my family wouldn't get to see him as much, or they probably wouldn't even get to see him at all. So and I've
until they've grown up, and like ourselves, they would be they would want to find you and sort of like, oh, why was I never given the opportunity to see this person and that, and it like makes the karma comes back on people that stop dads seeing their kids and that. Eventually that kid will find their dad and then know what's happened and see what's happened and have a lot of exit back for the people that have stopped them being with their family. But have you got some things from the chat you would like to put up and chat about?
Yeah, so sorry.
Dad, I want to go to Morgan.
Oh, I'm having.
Put us on mute for a minute.
Yeah, sorry, I've just muted you for a second because it's dead loud on my ears. Sorry. So, people don't think about people who it affects. People think they are burdens on other people. I'd rather have someone call me and wake me up than to not have a phone call ever again.
Yeah.
So
People
Yeah.
are in that frame of mind. They do think it's like they think it'd be better for people, I think, or their kids or whatever, if they're not there. And that's just never ever the case. But I do think people think that, and that gives them,
well,
that
it's, you don't. I mean, also though,
people
at
say
the
an
time,
easy escape.
I'm back.
Depression and stuff is so bad to make you go to that sort of point.
Yeah. So, but then at the time that you're committing the suicide or having the urges or thinking about it, whatever, your thoughts are on what other people are gonna think, or it's not gonna be your thoughts are like,
I'm not kidding.
if
No,
I
not at that point.
if
Not
I
at that
die,
stage.
he's gonna miss me. Your thoughts are on trying to escape whatever you're trying to escape, not.
Yeah. People say you're being selfish, but you're not. It's actually the absolute complete opposite. You're not. In a way, you are being selfish because you're not thinking about other people, but other people are not thinking about you when you're in that state.
Yeah.
Well, why can't you be selfish? You should be
Yeah.
selfish.
You should
Everybody
be, yeah.
in
It's
the world should
self-preservation
be
to be
selfish.
selfish.
Yeah, it's like if you do everything you can to not help yourself and help your son, or it's hard to explain. So it's like if I want to give my kids the best life I can, then I have to make myself better. So is that selfish? Probably, yeah. I'm selfish because I'm putting the stuff I'm doing a little bit more first, but in return, I'm giving my kids a better life. You know what I mean? So that's my side of selfishness. So
well,
I think you should be selfish to a point.
To go out to work to earn, to have a roof over your family and pay for their food and everything? No. But in a way, you're still taking away 40 hours of you being with your family. And, that's the point of having a family and a missus and that. You want to be with them. You want that company and stuff.
So, survival situation. Someone was asking me the other day, what would you do in a survival situation if the world went belly up?
I would eat Brad.
Yeah.
He'd last for ages.
Well, I was going to say that it's survival situation, self-preservation. If you was the only person in your street with a generator keeping your fridge going, and there's people out there that need insulin in the fridge or food, etc., for kids, for babies, and all that sort of stuff. If someone saw lights on in your house, you've got a generator, and it's been like 2 or 3 weeks into this belly up world situation. I say tits up,
Mm-hmm.
What would people do if everyone needs that electric to keep their insulin? What would they do? They'd come to your house and take the generator from you, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think could happen if it was your own brother? Would your own brother take your generator from you to keep his family rather than yours? It's a sobering thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Things like that. Brother will turn on brother to save their own children. It's either your children or their children. That brother becomes a them.
You sort of look back in history for that sort of thing, don't you?
Kings and queens and princes have done it for years, haven't they? So
all the civil wars and stuff, America, and you know what I mean. Obviously, very
it's true. It's self-preservation. Would you watch? And these are very sobering thoughts, but would you watch your son die, or would you watch your nephew die?
Well,
you don't want to watch any of them die, really.
You don't want to watch any,
but
you know that nephew ain't getting a Christmas card next year, but yeah.
But no, it does. It puts you in a place where like we were saying just about being selfish. Do I top myself, or do I stay here for my kids? Do I keep going through all this? Do I keep going through all this torment? Do I keep going through all this torment? You know, and bringing it on to my kids. Do I just get it over and done with in one big way? He's brought because you're on here, Brad. He's decided he's going to bring the 258 show.
The $400 turbo.
New hobbies, yeah. Try new hobbies. Keep you busy.
He's got his own metal. He's got his own little metal detector now. It's
What's he got?
I'm not sure. It's one of those. It's the Equinox Junior. It was about 70 quid, I think, and you know, it's the stem itself actually comes down into 3, so you can have it like for a ground bloke of 6 foot to be walking around with it, or you can take the middle section out and a young kid can. You know, the coil's not too heavy. I think the coil's about a quarter of a pound in weight. It goes down about, I'd say, it goes down probably about 350, 400 mil in the ground, so. It's a good little metal detector, and you know, the graphics on the screen are a bit cartoony, you know, so it does look like something you buy out of Argos for the kids, and you know, but it is actually a proper metal detector, and it's quite good.
Oh yeah, Equinox, you know, it'll find stuff. You just got to walk over it, basically.
Well, that's it. So we're doing a bottle bank. I mean, a good while ago, I says to Brad, I says, "You're going to come down and you're going to have a look through this bottle bank with us." He's been too busy, ain't he, Brad?
I have, yeah. I don't think you understand how busy I get.
I know. Yeah,
I'd love to do episodes like this once a week, but I can't. I have to do it once a month. It's so even struggled tonight to get on.
I was well ready to do it last week, wasn't I?
I know you were.
To set up all my stuff, mate, and he's like, "It's next week," and I'm like, "Oh God."
But anyway, can I just I want to talk about death and my opinions on it and your opinions. Now, death is obviously the side effect of suicide. That's it. Once you're dead, you're dead. You ain't coming back. Now, I used to be a believer of ghosts and spirits and stuff like that until I had a nose job, which was, when was that? In April sometime. Yeah. I had a nose job in April sometime.
Yeah, you came down here to see us. I think it was 4 days after.
Yeah, I had a nose job anyway.
And you're still talking like this.
But they knocked me out during it, obviously. I was put under. Now, I have nothing. I was ready, waiting to go into surgery, and then I woke up. There's nothing in between that. There's no waking up. It was just a blink. Now, to me, ever since my mum died, I've been a bit weird with death. But to me that was death. That was my death. I died. That was it. And that's what scared me so much about death recently, because in my head now, it's there's nothing. There's no existence. I won't even know I'm dead, which is scary.
Yeah.
Now, I understand people are religious and they believe in heaven and hell, and people are spiritual and they believe in spirits. I used to believe in reincarnation. I thought we would get reincarnated. Honestly, I am so petrified now because it's non-existence to me.
With me, as soon as the little electric sparks give up in between the the betas, you know, them little neurons, you know, in your brain. Once the electric stops going through them, that's it. Now, I've hunted and fished all my life, and I've camped out, and in some of the most haunted of places, and I've always thought to myself, how do people see these ghosts? And like what Brad was saying there about, float, there's this like light at the end of this tunnel. Walk into the light, and I was hovering above my body stuff, and I was actually unlucky enough to be clinically dead for a while. I think it was about 2 minutes. My mother was there with some other family members. I'd overdosed. I'd actually took more drugs than what I was used to. I'd not long got out of prison, and one of the first stupid things I did was, with my discharge grant, straight to the phone box. And I was actually luckily in an hospital, hiding in the toilets, doing what I was doing. I remember starting to do it with my friend, and the next minute I know I woke up over an hour later in an hospital. And it was just like if a lot of people watch Trainspotting, it was a sort of that. And then I was in this hospital, and it was like, wow, how have I got here? And stupid. One of the silly things was, what they give me to bring me round has actually took away the effects of the drugs. I was really pissed. I was really pissed off. I just wasted my money, and now they've given me this stuff to counteract the drug, and now I'm not high anymore. So that was the only thing on my mind. Looking at my mum and my ex-partner, right, my daughter's, my daughter's mum, Lacey's mum. I looked at them, and the first thing I could think of was, well, why don't you two borrow me some money so I can go and get some more? And the doctor said, well, you was just clinically dead. Your heart stopped. We had to work on you. We had to get you going. I had this tremendous tight pain in my chest where they'd actually put the paddles on there and bump me and bring me back to life. All I could think about was getting some more drugs. The way the mind works, such a, a lot of people would have been like, oh, I nearly died, oh, help me, I'll never do that again, blah, blah. It's not always like that, it really isn't, And that was a scary thought, like, I've been in situations where I've been held at knife point, and I'm a fighter. If somebody puts a knife up to me, I don't just say, oh, have my wallet, have my watch, have my phone, to get close enough to me to put that knife in me, you're going to get close enough to me to get my hands on you. That sort of thing. Is it going to be a new knife to my collection, or is it going to be a wooden box? It's one way or the other, And
yeah.
So I touch wood, like, in a silly way. I don't say for anyone to do this, but I've been in a lot of situations because of how I grew up, where it's either grab it and fight or let it happen. And no, I've never let it happen. I've always gone wading in. And sometimes somebody's threatened me, and I've actually stood up, and they've dropped the knife and run away. I was standing there all, wow. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to be not nice, you know what I mean? I was, so.
That's it.
Yeah, it's
amazing
that's a self-preservation thing as well.
Your brain takes on these situations. I had that when I was about 16, literally. Yeah, that moment where you got a knife pointing at your stomach.
Okay.
You grab their hand, turn it around on them, and they don't expect it because they've got a knife in their hand. So, well, what you were saying, Brad, and to do with that, I mean, Brad, you sort of like fear that there's nothing going to be because you was like in the operations. I've died a couple of times, and I've been very close to dying a couple of times, and had that, that sort of like, does your life flash before you sort of thing when you are still lucid. And I've done the hospital ones where I've been in operations where it wasn't looking good or beforehand. I will say, yeah, you go out, you go in for an op, and you're like, you could be clinically dead for quite a while, and they bring you back and everything, and you're like, you sort of go out and you're straight back again, and you that first wake up in the ward. Thing is, with your not seeing anything, not going on to another place, not anything like that, is it because your soul, which is a weird old fucking thing because we haven't quite found where it is in our bodies yet, your soul wasn't ready to leave that body. You was not ready to die. A bit like what you were saying with fighting. When I was in hospital, I'd fought in my head to make myself not, not die, because it was like, when you sort of in the incubator sort of area where other people are going into crash and you're seeing other people die, and you think, well, why am I here? Oh shit, I'm nearly. So you sort of fight in your head. It's that thing, and I'm sure people give in to the pain at times, just like, I can't stand this anymore, because, like you say, when you die, suddenly the pain and that goes away.
Yeah.
But at that point,
everything goes away.
Well,
Yeah,
you don't
it
feel
goes away
you know,
forever, doesn't it?
So that's just why it's a bliss for some people who are in pain and they're near to the end of their life, and they go off, and I should imagine that moment they do die, and they're not in pain anymore, it will be quite an amazing moment for their brain, because they haven't got to deal with it. But your soul wasn't ready to leave. Your soul and what makes you who you are weren't ready to leave. So it was trapped in this fucking, bit that was being kept alive on the thing. So you wasn't properly dead. I still think it takes a while for you to.
In my head, though, it's like there's nothing. It's hard. Can you remember what it was like before you were born?
Well, that's exact. I was going to say the exact same thing. People say about reincarnation and all that sort of thing.
Why is it when they're reincarnated, they always were like Cleopatra or something like that, and not just some scumbag in the corner of some squatty little village in the middle of England, where it's like, I was definitely a queen or a king or a ninja or something.
I mean, I feel like there is nothing now, and that's, to me, because I'm not religious or anything like that, and because I now think there's nothing, that's now put more of a pressure on life, not pressure. What's the word? Precious. Life is a bit more precious.
Live every day like it's your last, sort of style.
Yeah, because I know now that there is nothing after, so it's like it's like Eddie Murphy said a good one. It's if you're lucky, you'll get to see 75 Christmases, 75 winters, 75 summers, 75 birthdays. That's 75. That's not a lot. Think about that. 75. Yeah. That's if you're lucky. That's not a lot at all.
Roseanne said something to me the other day in a chat. She's like, she was asking about my health or whatever, and she's over this, and she's like, make sure you get it sorted. Make sure you take tablets or whatever, because she's like, I've only got 30 more summers, and to go out in my van and sort of do stuff, and it's like 30 more. If you just had one summer holiday a year, that means you've only got 30 holidays left in your lifetime, sort of thing, and you've already had, fucking 50 odd. That's it.
Yeah. And you think you've only got 25 left? Yeah.
It's not, and those first 50 was like a blink of an
eye, Yeah. No, well, anyway, you guys, I'm going to have to go because, as you can see, I've got to sort Cody out. So.
Well, thank you. Yeah. But just before you go, thank you for coming on. We're probably still going to carry on and chat rubbish.
Yeah.
But if anyone does want to get in contact with Ant and Chase Adventures, look them up on Facebook. Chase
Adventures, it's on Facebook, yeah. Or obviously, if they want to contact you or Rob, then you can put them in the right direction.
Yeah.
If you want to go, get in contact, go camping. If you are having a tough time, maybe just hit him up, go for a camp. You might find that it's a new hobby for you. You never know.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who have said things like, I'm scared of bugs, I'm not doing it. I don't like being in the dark in the woods on my own. And in fact, the bugs, well, there's never really any bugs because obviously you're in a tent and, we've got nets and stuff and whatnot. And as for people saying about ghosts and ghouls and, all these noises there at night and that, like, well, when you're in an area where nobody knows where you are, no one can see you, you're completely out the way, You mean one of the safest places ever, you know, because nobody knows you're there, and there's no one going to come along looking for you or anything. So it's actually a place where it's a peace of mind, you know. You can actually be lost there. You can actually stay there, be lost. A
Once,
sanctuary, you
once,
know.
once you've been in the woods at night time and you've just sat there and listen, and you hear the foxes, you hear the,
Yeah,
and things like that, and they make some strange noises. There's some weird animals that make
yeah,
strange noises, but once you know what animal that is, it's no longer a scary thing or whatever. And
yeah.
I always consider when I've been in the woods at night, I am pretty much the most scariest thing in those woods. And it have that little sort of yet again a mental
That's
attitude of
right.
like,
Well,
there's nothing
I took
scarier
some.
in these woods.
I took some people out not long back, and I could hear this like a bone crunching sound, and it was actually badgers munching bluebell bulbs.
Oh,
So
right,
you
yeah.
know, yeah, and I mean I knew what it was because it sounded like a pickled onion being crunched. So, but to them it sounded like someone crunching someone's bones. So you
First
know,
time I ever heard hedgehogs having a bit of woo woo, having a bit of fun.
the squeaking noises,
Oh, it was
little
it
squeaking
was very
noises.
human. There was very human noises sort of coming from it. It scared my neighbour to death. She come round, knocked on the door, and there's someone in my garden, and I've gone out there and heard the noises, and like someone's doing something in your garden, but I don't think it's
A
human.
lot of people can relate who live in the urban environment where, like, they might hear the cats fighting. It sounds like babies crying, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
anyway, so I'm gonna have
It's
to
been
go. So,
amazing talking to you. Thank you
Thanks
ever
for
so much
coming on.
for coming
no
on.
worries. Anytime you know that. So, Chase Adventures, yeah, get on to us, and
Yeah, I
yeah, we
put
can
the
always
link
meet up somewhere.
on the chat.
Yeah, we can always meet up somewhere, and I can either teach you bushcraft skills or I can teach you mine skills. Try and get you into a different frame of mind. I think like me and Brad started off magnet fishing. There's nothing nicer than actually just standing in by the side of the canal, just seeing what you can get. Mostly guns and swords and all that sort of
Oh, I
stuff.
wish. I wish.
Me and Brad did it. We hit the jackpot one day.
Yeah,
we even on Lad's Bible. So
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah.
anyway, thanks guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. So
Thanks for coming on.
no worries. See you later, Rob. And
See you
Stay
later.
well, mate. Thank you.
Ciao,
Big up.
mate.
Nice
Ciao.
one.
So I've put the link to Chase Adventures on the group on the chat. So if anyone wants to have a click of that and go have a look, give it a join, that's fine. So let's just get a little bit back into the topic of this session, which was suicide. Now, obviously, me and Rob, I'm pretty sure plenty of you in the group in the chat as well have probably lost someone through suicide. I've lost several friends. Rob's lost several as well. Some of them are who we both knew. Now, like I was saying before, I think most suicides are urges, and I feel like if you can discipline yourself to not, I wouldn't say it's more of a don't act upon those urges. So, but the discipline side of it is to discipline your mind to recognize when it's an urge. So yeah, it's disciplining your mind, to realize when it's an urge and when it's not. Obviously, people do pre-plan, as our friend did. Or we think our friend did. We don't know. Obviously, not here. But I also feel like if it is pre-planned, then why not, before you go do it? Yeah. So anyone listening right now, if you have pre-planned your death, before you go and do it, I'm not going to try and stop you. What I want, though, is you to go and get a six-pack before you go do it. You're not allowed to. You've got to go get a six-pack or make £1 million or dollars So that's your challenge. And then once you've done that, then you can come back and tell me you still want to do it. You know what I mean? I think you need to set yourself a goal. I've set myself a goal. I'll tell you straight up what my goal is, and everyone keeps laughing at me for it. But I'm a lot closer to my goal than I've ever been before. So my goal was to make £1 million. It's been a year now since I told people. I deliberately told people because I knew they would take the piss and laugh at me, which is fine. I wanted them to because that gave me more encouragement to go. Prove you wrong.
Is it when you're rolling past someone in your, in your Lambo that you've just, even if you just hired it today, but just that sort of sweeter. You said,
mate, the fact that I could afford to hire it for the day, a year ago I couldn't.
That's the you know what I mean. That's the thing in me of like, even if I had £1 million sort of thing, I have learned in my time. You still, you know what I mean? Money's very easy to spend. And I think that it's and to make it, there aren't a lot of rich people out there that are nice. There's not, there's a reason very rich people are called the filthy rich, because they are literally filthy. And they do stitch people up. They're the nastiest of people, because you don't get rich in this world by being super nice, by the looks of it, I don't think. So your mission to gather plenty of money, right? You're horrible. You're horrible.
I am horrible. I've told you. I told you in the last episode I'm horrible. I'm a horrible person.
And this is why I do believe you will have that £1 million and several on top of that, because it's like, you putting your mind to it. And there's no really nice rich people out there. They might do their like nice sort of things, but they didn't get there by being nice.
But I'm very selfish as well. So, but this is my life. I only have one life. I only have one life. I can't reset it. And instead of sitting there being depressed, lying in bed, getting fatter and fatter, instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make something of it. And I set my goal of to get so much money. And for a year straight, I've actually been so focused on that goal. I've actually not been thinking of anything else. But the thing is, what I'm saying is before you go kill yourself or whatever, set yourself a goal. There's no excuse. I mean, you've got, I don't know, say you've got one leg and you can't walk or something. Don't use that as an excuse, mate. Use it to your ability. Use that. Maybe you could set up a company
for
people with one leg. For people with one leg or something like that. There's always a brighter side to something, and you could always improve someone else's life by doing that. And that's, I've gone a bit off topic to suicide here, but it's like the suicide part of it. That's going to occupy your mind and take you away from that suicide part. You get what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, you made that as a, saying like what your ambition to do and to take your mind off it and keep your mind. But that is probably one of the main things. If someone is in that situation and feeling like you say, pre-planning in a way, it's like, just in another month or so, that's it. I'm gonna do this or that. Don't. Get something else in your life. Get something else that you care about. Make something, you know what I mean? And where your life goes from there. But yeah, people get sort of stuck in a lifestyle. I think with the last few years, it's been, virtually acceptable. I mean, for the last 30, 40 years, people don't know their neighbours. It's suddenly in the 90s that was a very big thing. Even the 80s, that sort of started, I would say. Before that, people knew everyone that lived around them for a couple of streets, sort of thing. And then it got to a case of people being dispersed, I suppose. So you didn't really know your neighbours, with renting and things like that. Family homes weren't being reoccupied by the same families in areas, people moving out far and wide and stuff like that. So the whole community thing has changed, and it is very easy for someone to be, it's like old people stuck in their homes nowadays. Their family not seen them, or whatever. Their friends have all died. Their, brothers, sisters, anything like that, and to not even be noticed that they've passed away, because people aren't,
Am I selling my body? No.
Yeah, I see that.
No, not.
This is why he's doing so. This is why he's doing so well, Roseanne. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm nearly getting my goal.
If I was female, I probably would. Mate, I know how the system works. I'll play it for all it's worth. It doesn't bother me, as long as I get to my goal, and that's where you say people filthy rich. They're vile. Well, yeah, you do anything to get to your goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to put across was setting goals in life to achieve. Now, you can't just set a goal and then go lie in bed. It don't work like that. If you set a goal, you need to go and get it. Like, look at a bodybuilder. They didn't just wake up one day and go, I'm going to be a bodybuilder, and then at the end of the day were ripped and had a six-pack. They worked really hard for that. It took them years, and once they got it, you can't stop because it'll go away. So you have to carry on, and they go every day to the gym to get ripped. It's like, think of it as renting. You are renting your body. If you stop going to the gym, well, what's going to happen to that bodybuilder? Well, he's going to lose all his muscle, probably get fat. He'll probably get real fat because of his body will be so used to a high calorie intake that now he's stopped exercising, it's just going to go straight on to storing fat. So he has to, or she has to constantly hit the gym. It doesn't stop. So don't, like, if you pick a goal for yourself, don't stop. Just carry on. You will achieve it. If you set your mind to it, you will do it.
Once you pick your thing, then it's having goals within that thing. And like you say, being a bit, what was we saying? It was selfish. It's sort of like, right, okay, you put those goals, which is saving your life and keeping you here in front of anything else, even if it is sort of like friends or families, but the way that you need to cope to be able to stay here for those people might look to them like it's very, he's spending this next year trying to break a world record that he wants to break. What the fuck is he doing? So, but if it's the thing that you know what I mean, that's keeping you about, so be it. So be it. You know what I mean? A coping mechanism.
Selfishness will keep you alive.
And that massive change might completely knock you out of that bad place because your mindset's completely changed. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff we could talk about to try and, occupy your mind regarding suicide.
It's a very personal thing to the person, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah. I mean, what I want to get across, the whole point of this episode was my point of view. I want to get across is that there is nothing else after it. That's it. You will not. Don't think for a second that you will die, and then you will respawn as a child and redo it. It's like, oh, you get a second chance. You'll respawn like 10 days later. No, it don't work like that.
Oh,
God.
please. God, I respawned with a six-pack. What?
But to me, that doesn't happen. Now, I know some people do believe that, and fair enough. If you want to believe that, that's entirely up to you.
I think it's another coping thing for people, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Sort of like
if they find comfort, if they find comfort in thinking that there's a heaven and they'll get to heaven, that's fine. If you never know, it might be true. You're shattering my dreams. No, it might be true though. There might be a heaven. We don't know, and we won't know until we hit that.
You're right that you've got to treat this life and how this life is as a there's no end game as such. You've got to do the best that you can and live your best life and just try and enjoy it and not live it in a way that is hurtful to yourself. So if you are in a bad place and you're in a shitty dark place and it's a horrible thing, and you wake up and you're thinking about horrible stuff or something like that, it's a case of no, I've got to reset my mind and just enjoy while I'm here what I've got and how I've got it, and then, like you say, then you'd be definitely able to start goals of getting better things, because those little steps that you've just took will change things so much. Like that thing, isn't it? Like a butterfly flapping its wings could cause a hurricane further down the line. You don't know. They're so small, but that will bring your mind into a new place. No, you don't want to be coming out of this life by your choice. You want to fucking, you know what I mean? Smash it to whatever.
Yeah, you don't get long as it is. So try. I don't want people to be like, but Brad, I am trying. I'm trying really hard. It's like, well, try harder. If you really want something, you will do it. Like, honestly, I don't want this. Oh, I'm trying, but in reality, I'm lying in bed doing nothing. I'm playing video games to escape life. Like, you're not, in my eyes, you're not trying. What you're doing is you're masking your problems. Why not try? Like, real try. It's like 100% try properly, 100%. And you will see changes. You will see stuff happening. It might take a while, but I really do think that you will see stuff happening. I don't know. Those are my views, anyway.
No, I think that's a good way for someone who would who would possibly be in that situation at the moment. If they listened to that and took it on board, it would make hopefully a great effect and possibly keep them here. You know what I mean? Doing things that could quite possibly change other people's lives in a good way, as well as their own.
1 second. You take the mic through.
Oh, thank you very much. Cheers for that, mate. That's very kind of you. Roseanne, one life and it goes by too quickly. Get up and go for a walk, one day at a time. There's a guy at the moment, and he's in Jaywick, which, if people know Jaywick, is like one of the, proper council towns, and it's like the offspill of London. And he's been putting out these shorts, and they're about 3 or 4 a day. He's got over 30,000 videos. Not a massive channel, but he's got a few thousand subscribers. And he's just like, look, I'm out, just go out. And he's just driving around in his car. And he went and sat in the library, and he went and done some other ones. He's like, just get up, get out, have a look out there. Look, there's some traffic lights. Oh, look, traffic lights of life. Oh, look, there's some trees. He's very much like proper. Oh, look, there's a butterfly. I'll film that. Get out, get out. And it is a big thing. Get outside, get out there. You never know what could happen. Be it good or bad, it will do something. Right, you're back. Come on. unmute yourself. That's a good boy.
My kids have just turned up, so.
Well, I think the show's done well, mate. I think you've got your help out there. I think the guest was brilliant and what he's doing, and I think everyone should go there. What was the name of the? I know you put the link in.
Yeah, so it's Chase Adventures. It's on Facebook. It's a group, so don't be looking for a page. Be looking for a group. I did put a link in the live chat. Once this is on Spotify and stuff like that, I'll try and figure out how to put links in. I've only just figured out how to upload onto there, so.
That's
so
it.
let me just read these comments. Sorry, being so depressed in my life at times, I hit a real dark low, and I've attempted suicide a few times in my youth. It's harder for the younger ones as life seems so much harder. But I always say it won't just affect them. Oh, he's going too fast. Know and love, but also friends you have come across yet. If you manage to, what I tried, it would affect so many people. Right, yeah. So sorry.
Yeah, I'm reading that.
Yeah.
What I say is, basically saying the people that he hasn't even met yet that have now been affected by him being in their life and may the butterfly effect of being known to people, which could have triggered something that is so good that you'd never even know about via someone knowing someone doing something, doing that.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? You don't know what's about to happen. You don't have a clue. So why cut it short?
And like they say, that's the big thing with suicide. It affects everyone that knew you. But yeah, bringing up the point that, which is brilliant, of all the people that you're now not going to meet and not have an effect with, that in itself is, a horrible thing, not nice.
Butterfly effect, yeah.
Brad. There we go.
But you never know, though, because that butterfly could, like this episode now, could help one person. That one person could go tell someone else, and you don't know if that's helped. That the person you've told could have, you could be like, oh yeah, last night what was I doing? Oh, I was just watching YouTube, listening to some fat old men talk about suicide and stuff. And then, you don't know. You might have just accidentally saved that person because then
just by bringing up the subject.
Yeah,
exactly. We don't know how far this goes, and if it helps,
And then brilliant. That person goes to that person, and so on. It dominoes off itself.
Well, that's it. I mean, to us, we were talking about, it's sort of like makes sense to us to, right, okay, if your mental health's bad, go out and do this, go out and do that. But like you trying to point over, that trying to grab someone out of the bed just to go and do that. I know there's a lot of people with, I mean, Stephen Gray, and at times when he posts up and that he's just like sat there in bed, like can't be bothered. And I know there's people in his life that will go around, grab him out, metal detect him, and make him bounce back a bit because they know the type of guy that he is, and he needs that sort of help to sort of come out of that darker times. So anything that we've said tonight could possibly not be in some other people's heads, like, oh, just the easiest thing of just getting up and going out, or helping someone to help themselves, just giving them a boot up the arse to, like, no, you can't sit around feeling like that. You would destroy everyone around you if you did decide to do something like that. So let's get this into gear and change your life. Hard thing. This world is a mad, messed up place. Like I said, I mean, with kids nowadays, we never used to really have a massive amount of depression and that back in my days of school. But nowadays, I've seen adverts like 40,000 kids each year with serious mental issues and that, from like the things that have happened the last couple of years, being home for a year or two and doing your schooling from. That happened to me when I was at school. Oh, my poor mum, trying to keep me indoors. Me and my mates not meeting up at 12 o'clock at night, climbing out of windows. And that's what we've done without a fucking, like, curfew going down. If there had been a curfew on, we'd have been like the purge or something. It'd have been fucking an absolute nightmare. So, yeah, having the technology nowadays and kids using their phones and computers and that definitely saved, you know what I mean, gave them something to do. Otherwise, there would have been a lot more, you know, properly messed up people. But yeah, I think.
But then lockdown also affected there was very high suicide rate during lockdown. I mean, I lost a friend. Oh, we lost.
Well, exactly.
Two friends that went on my side.
Yeah.
You know, and that was again during lockdown. Well, in fact, one of them, Carl, he was during lockdown, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then I had another friend who just after lockdown, not too sure what happened. Well, I know what happened, but I don't know why his mindset did that. Now, that could be a number of factors. It could have been just an urge, or it could have been from uncertainties from lockdown because we've just been let out and go back.
Not so easy to just do that, is it? For some people, the whole thing of being locked down and locked away, sort of indoctrinated being alone or just with a couple of people. So then people going to big things but were sort of overwhelmed. And I think that scared people as well to suddenly think, oh, I can go to the shops, but I don't really want to go to the shops now because you're used to not going to the shops and you're getting your shopping online or whatever. And it's like, oh, you know, so it affected people very badly like that, definitely.
Lockdown was a breeze for me as I'm a learner. To be honest with you, I actually loved it.
This is it. There were some people that could cope with it really well because it was like, oh, this is the perfect excuse. I had a wedding to go to this summer and I really didn't want to fucking go.
Oh, mate, I was loving it. I was in the garden, chilling. It was great. I went out every day. I went out to the shop and funnily enough, I needed to get shopping every day. So it literally affected me like zero. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, I was allowed to travel, and I was allowed to travel to Wales when you weren't even allowed to like drive to Wales, but I was allowed to because my kids live in Wales, so they were my family bubble in Wales, and then I had my parents near me, which they were elderly, so I was there sort of help, so I could always go up my mum's. So it was nice. I had their garden. I could go up there, have fun, spend time with them, and not have a worry. So it weren't too bad for me. But yeah, being able to go up to drive the fucking out, the roads were empty, man.
Oh, it was great, wasn't it? It was so good.
Yeah. Me, the M4 was my racetrack.
Runners kept running out into the road at me. That was about it. Yeah, because they obviously they weren't expecting cars, so they just headphones on and oblivious to the world and just run into the road. So those who isolate seek their own selfish well-being. That's why I forced myself to go to school 4 days a week.
There you go. Every day's a school day at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean, we should always remember you are always learning. You don't know everything, and even some of the things you do know are probably wrong. I mean,
and remember, the bad stuff that you're going through is meant to happen. There's something that's going to happen at the end of it, whether that's you learn a lesson or something like that. It's meant to.
Oh,
you are meant to be going through it.
There's always some good you can take from the worst possible situations, even if it's just, you know, teaching you not to get in that situation, which is, you know, like anything, history and stuff like that. So I do love the history side of our hobby. It's like it brings things up to you And you know, it's not the first time our world has gone through pandemics and stuff like that. You know, it's not the first time people have
See you
been
later,
in.
Nudge.
Hello,
Sorry,
Nudge.
I was just saying bye.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, I was just sort of wandering off on a tangent, mate.
Also, remember, life is hard, and it's meant to be hard. If all the stuff was easy to get that you wanted, everyone would have it. So it's meant to be hard. If you want a six pack, then you've got to work for it. It's meant to be hard to get. If you want lots of money, you've got to work for it. It's meant to be hard to get.
If you want a Waddington 7 barrel, you can have one of them
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, just go Burger King, yeah. McDonald's.
We know you ladies out there love a good dad bod. You know what I mean? That's the new thing for nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Anyway, so I think we're going to call it quits now.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. We've spoke about loads of random stuff. Our next episode is going to be in January. So next month, we're doing one episode a month. Because that's all the time I've got. But yeah, thank you for watching. That's or listening if you're listening to the podcast. So hope to see you all next time.
Check you out on Facebook for updates of what the show will be about next time.
I think I'm gonna have a chat with Rob after this. I think we're gonna set up a proper Facebook page. I think we should. I think that'd be a little bit better, and we can also put links on there to like help groups and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll announce it on my That's Brad page, and Rob hopefully will as well. But thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.
Stay safe.